gone to her friends for the afternoon for a birthday sleepover, her friends, not Phoebe's. Lilia is upstairs, she's expecting a friend over in about half an hour. And I've got a little bit of time in between hanging out washing to answer some of the questions that I've been getting. So I've been woefully bad, as usual, at replying to comments. I'm really sorry for that. I do read every single one of them. If I've liked it, it means I've read it and I've taken it in and taken it to heart, and thank you so much. I am very, very grateful to you for commenting. It means a lot to know that what I'm doing is fun for you. So, and I find it very equally rewarding. So I've had some questions in the comments, and because I haven't really had time to reply to things, I haven't answered questions sometimes. So I thought what might be fun to do is just go through the comments and answer any questions without rambling too much. So I've got all the questions here, and I've only gone back as far as day 20. Because I think any further than that we'd be here all day. So if you've asked a question and I don't answer it, or I haven't answered it already, just ask it again and I might do this again. So first of all, so Helen asked, did I used to live in Scotland? No, I didn't. My parents are my parents are Scottish. My dad was Scottish. My dad was born in Glasgow, brought up in Edinburgh. My mum was brought up half of her childhood in Fife and the remaining part of her childhood in Aberdeen. They met at Aberdeen University and they moved down here after they graduated, because this is where the work was. They were working in London. So all of my family was still in Scotland, so all of our holidays, mainly at Easter and sometimes in the summer, we always went to Scotland to see them. So we spent a lot of time there growing up, which is why I talk about it and have memories of my grandmother and going into Aberdeen, and I have quite strong memories because we were there a lot. That's why, but I didn't live there. I'd love to live there one day. Okay, so also on day 20, somebody, N. Williams, asked, where do you get crochet patterns for rocks and bottles? The truth is I don't. I make them up as I go along. In particular, the rocks that I make, I'll go and grab one. Okay, so this is one of my crochet rocks. Yeah, so this is free form. I just start with a hole in the middle and I work out flat, and then when it's time to, I keep increasing. When it's time to go around the corners, I start decreasing, and then I thread it all through and pull it tight around the rock. So that is all free form crochet. And then these two jars I did a long time ago. These are both from Patterns on Ravelry, and I believe they are on my Ravelry page. So if you go and have a look at my quite far back on my projects, you should see these, and the pattern will be linked in those. If I get the time and I remember, I'll put the pattern name on the screen. So this is one with little bobbles. That's a very lacy one, gives a lot of light, and that's a bit more of a dense one, but they both give absolutely lovely lights. And once you've done a couple, you can pretty much make it up as you go along. It doesn't really matter as long as there's holes, and I usually run a little bit of super glue around the top to hold it in place, because I'm never going to take them off of there. So that's where I get those. Andrea asked, have I been watching Sandy by the Lakeside vlogs? No, I haven't. I hear a lot about her. I ought to watch it because a lot of people talk about her. I'm not really watching anything at the moment because I don't know where the time's going. I don't know if it's the holidays or life or me or doing vlogs, but I just don't have time to watch anything at the moment. But she's in my watch later. I was talking about my eye test. It went fine. I still need glasses just for close-up work, like on the computer. It's a very small prescription. And Sandra asked, have I considered contact lenses? No, because I don't really need to wear glasses all the time. So it would literally just be for looking at the screen at work, or very detailed things at home. So I think probably not at this stage. Scrolling through, thank you for all your congratulations on passing my flute exam. I'm very relieved, and also thank you for everyone for your input on the socks, the white head socks I was talking about. It seems like the overall winner was the ice cream parlour yarns for those. A lot of you just said do 2 pairs of socks and use both yarns, which was also an excellent idea. Michelle, let's have a colour work beret cow. That would be fun. I have to learn how to do colour work first. But if we're talking about cows, the Strictly Sock Along will be happening again this year. So that will be starting sometime in September, which actually, if you think about it, is not long away at all. Eek. So I will come up with some more news about that soon. So many lovely comments about walking. It's really, really inspired me. So thank you so much for that. I even had messages on Instagram, I had emails, I had messages on Ravelry. So it was really, really fantastic. Oh, Davina asked about what do moth traps look like, as I've never heard of them before. Please, can you show them? Yes, I can. I'll go and get one. Hold on one second. These are the ones we've got at the moment. So you buy them in a pack of 6 on Amazon, and they are the Trapo Punchy Moths ones. These probably would not work on clothes moths. I think you need to get specific ones for the moths that you have, because they have a pheromone that attracts the male moths. The idea, if you have moths, is to break the breeding cycle, because if you see a moth, then they've already hatched, which means they've already passed through the feeding cycle and they're looking for a mate. And if they mate, the female will lay the eggs, and then the feeding cycle starts again. I found no evidence of any moth larvae at all, and I have been through my cupboards with a toothpick and all the packets. I've even thrown stuff away as a precaution. I have the cleanest cupboards in Kent, probably in the UK. And we haven't seen, well, we've seen some adult moths which we've managed to get rid of, but we haven't we haven't caught any more since. But I've got one of these in each of the cupboards, so if there is a male moth looking for a mate, he will be attracted to the pheromone in here. It's very, very, very sticky, and he gets stuck on it. It's not the nicest thing in the world, but I just, you know, that's the only way to deal with them, is to break the breeding cycle. So that's what a moth trap looks like. Robin said, have you seen the video from Arnie and Carlos about steam blocking? This was in days 21 to 23 when I was talking about steam blocking my acrylic top that I'm making. I have not, but I have added that now to my watch later list. I did watch a couple of other videos that people recommended as well, and I did manage to successfully block those 2 panels. I'm now adding, I forgot that I was supposed to add ribbing to the bottom, so I'm just battling away with that at the moment. I don't seem to be able to get the right tension. That seems to be my main problem with this top. So I'm going to do 1 panel, see how it comes out, but I hate crocheting ribbing. I just find it the most tedious thing to have to do, so I'm having to force myself to work on that. Right. Charlotte, I answered this on the comments, but just in case, the sock pattern I was working on in days 21 to 23, it's a vanilla sock. I'm just making it up as I go along, but I used the heel from the Candy Cane socks, which is a pattern by Ellie of Craft House Magic. It's a paid for pattern, and you can buy it on Ravelry. Speaking of that top as well, Kathleen asked, what is the pattern? The pattern I'm using for that top is called My Favourite Jeans. It is a pattern by Natalie, who is Detroit Knots on Instagram, and I think she's also that on Ravelry too. But if you go into the main search function on Ravelry, type in My Favourite Jeans top, and it will come up. It's actually a free pattern, but you can elect to buy it if you wish to support the designer. And it's really good so far. I've just had terrible problems with gauge, but I am getting there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it comes out, and I really hope it fits. Can you share the brand and model for the tripod that I've got? So Lily bought me a tripod, which I am using now. Can you share the brand and model? I don't have the box anymore, and there's nothing on it to give it away, so I'm not sure. I will contact Lily and ask her if she knows what the brand is, because it doesn't say on it. That's annoying, isn't it? Let me have a look at the bottom. Nope. So no, sorry, I can't share that because I don't know, and I threw away the box. But it is really good. Janice pointed me in the direction of an article in the Mail on Saturday, about reverse SAD, which I talked about, so seasonal affective disorder, SAD. I feel that I get that in the summer because I feel more depressed in the summer than I do in the winter, and I feel happier in the winter, whereas a lot of people with the lack of light and the shorter days tend to get the affective disorder in the winter. So I haven't been to read that, but thank you, Janice. I am going to go and read it because I am interested in that. I need to finish my podding.
They won't mind me.
I'm just answering questions.
Ooh!
What?
Are you doing a Q&A? A question
Well, no,
and answer?
I'm just answering some of the questions.
A Q&A.
They can't see you. You'll have to bend down and say hello.
Hello!
Lilia's here. She's going to make her lunch and stay out of the way.
Of course.
Right. What was the next question? What were the blue and purple bunches of flowers? Oh, so that would have been on the day we went to Emmett's garden. They were hydrangeas, but I can see that Sue Dale, who is very knowledgeable on these things, has answered that. They are a hydrangea. And yes, she's also said that the pH of the soil changes the colour. So I've got, the ones I have in my garden are all lace cap hydrangeas. I really like the traditional hydrangeas. I need to plant one of those in my garden. So the blue one you saw at Emmett's garden was a hydrangea. Okay. Is this you barely being noticed? You can't even tell she's here, can you? So Hartisan Jill asked, can I share some recipes for home dyed yarn, I think, because I did that home. She said your home dyed yarn is beautiful and you made it as simple as making sun tea. What's sun tea? What's sun tea? Could you give us some recipes, please? Well, my recipe for dyeing yarn is bung some dye in. Well, soak it in water with some vinegar, heat it up a bit, bung some dye in, see what happens. That's it.
Can you dye yarn with peanut butter?
No, you can't dye yarn with peanut butter.
Oh.
Yes, so that's my recipe. I'm afraid I am in no way an expert whatsoever. I do have a little video from the first time I ever tried dyeing yarn, and it's back somewhere in my videos. I might have even made a playlist about yarn dyeing, and it's on there, and I dyed it with Kool-Aid. That was good fun. So have a look at that. That's a good place to get started. Oh, thank you, Gaynor. You should do notebooks. We're not doing notebooks. Thank you, Laurel, for the difference between a wigwam and a teepee. That's really interesting. I will be sharing that with Phoebe.
I told you it was a teepee.
Yes, Lilia already knew it's a teepee, but do you know what the difference is between a teepee and a wigwam?
No.
Well, you will later, because I'm going to tell you. We've got, someone gave us a link to explain the difference.
Cool.
There's no special like button for Phoebe, so here's a panda instead. That's Paula. Thank you, Paula. I will show that to Phoebe when she gets back later.
Phoebe got mentioned and I didn't.
Shush. That's all the questions. I thought there was loads more than that. That's quite good. I'm going to have to cut all that down so that, because I've been talking probably for about 15 minutes in total, so by the time you see it, it should only hopefully be a couple of minutes. And without too much noise and interruption from Lilia in the background, who I shall cut out as much as possible.
Hey!
Right, I am going to go and make myself some lunch. I'm really bored with food at the moment, so I'm intending to just grab a bit of bread and just eat that, and that's lunch, which is no way to eat. So I decided today to have some leftover salad, and I've just mixed in some tuna with some balsamic vinegar and olive oil. I've no idea if it's going to make for a decent lunch, but it looks quite nice. I'm going to watch a bit of Hey Brown Berry, which I've been watching for about the last week. And as you can see, I've made it 13 minutes in because I keep getting interrupted. So I'm hoping I might be able to watch some. I'm a little bit behind, which is good because I like being able to binge watch. And I'm going to eat my lunch, and then I've got some Moopy Bunny sewing to do. I find myself in a house without any children. Lilia's gone out with her friend to meet another friend, and no doubt go and buy junk food at the local corner shop. Phoebe's at her friend's house. I am alone. So I'm going to get the sewing machine out, make a rooibos tea, eat a biscuit, and get these Moopy bunnies finished. actually, this is the book that was the inspiration for the Moopy Bunnies. A couple of people did ask me about the pattern and the book, so I went and dug it out. But the idea of the book is to encourage you to just make anything and not be too worried about it. I've made the gremlins almost exactly like that. We've got a few of those gremlins. They're all completely bonkers. Just trying to find the Moopy Bunny. I'm like, oh yeah. There. This is the Moopy Bunny, okay? So this is what the original Moopy Bunny looks like, which as you can see is pretty much completely different to the ones that I've made. That's because I took that as an inspiration and then drew my own pattern and made it up, basically. But this was the original inspiration, and this is why they are called Moopy Bunnies, because that's where the idea came from. But that's why you won't really find the Moopy Bunny that look like mine. But that's the book, which is hilarious. Curious Creatures for Immature Adults. I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to have a bath because Phoebe's not here, Lydia's watching films, so I'm going to lock the door, have an early bath, and then I'll still have my whole evening for knitting and watching a film with Dan. I'm going to read this book. This is Linda's actually a review of the podcast, and this is one of her really ages ago books. And I've been reading it. I had to put it away when we did the bathroom, so I've dug it out again. Instead of my usual Lush, I'm going to have an M&S bubble bath, which is very fragrant, perhaps a bit too fragrant, but it's just nice sometimes to shove bubble bath in rather than crumbling powder and things. I've got some grapes and yeah, I'm going to have a nice soak. Normally I'd watch the iPad in the bath, but I'm going to read. I used to read in the bath all the time and I stopped. I need to switch off my brain because I've had a lovely few days, but I've spoken to a lot of other humans and I think I need to recharge. We have a small problem and I need to know what you think. This is a bit squashed where it's been in my project bag, but this is the front panel of my favourite jeans top. I'm using yarn that my lovely real life friend gave to me for my birthday a couple of years ago, and my intention was to use all the yarn she gave me. However, I have used almost all of this purple, I have used all of this purple, and I've got loads of white left. So in order to do the rib along the edge of the sleeves and the bottom of the top, I was going to do it in white because that's what I had left. But I don't like it. I think that's going to look a bit weird with white. I think it's too much. So I think I'm going to have to order the dark purple. I think that will look much better. What do you think? I think the white's going to ruin it. I think it's too bright. Also, because I had problems with gauge, I am following the directions for the rib for the size large, which is the stitch count I followed in order to get a large gauge, but still a smaller gauge than the medium size, if that makes sense. And I think there's too many stitches picked up along the bottom, because as you can see, it's starting to sort of bulge out. So again, I think I'm going to rip back all the picked up stitches, which I'll have to do anyway if I change colours, and just use my instinct as to how many stitches should be there rather than using the pattern. Answers on a postcard. Well, this is interesting. Dan was clearing out his car and found this bag right at the bottom, and I've no idea why these things are in the bag. But it explains why I couldn't find this. If you have watched my podcast for a while, you might recognise this. It is my sock tube. So I had some yarn left over from some socks that I was making for my sister, and she bought me this yarn. It's Little French Meadow, and it's, I can't remember what it's called. You don't live here. Sorry about that cat interruption. What was it called? I'm sure it's something to do with a flower. I'm just trying to see if I've got the ball band in here. No. But yeah, just did a very small little bit of colour contrast at either end. And I'm going to now cut this. And my original idea was to make it into socks, but actually because of the amount of yarn I had, I don't think it's going to be long enough for a pair of socks. Or maybe it will be, but they'd be shorty socks. Because if you think, if I cut it there, by the time I've done the toes, yeah, it's just not going to be long enough for socks. So I'm going to do mittens or wrist warmers. So I have no idea what I'm doing, but it's going to involve cutting it in half, doing a little bit of ribbing at the top end, and doing an afterthought thumb. I thought I'd lost this, well I had, but it turns out it was in a bag in Dan's car, which means I've also found my little project bag, which I love, and I've also found my little Cozy Cute Knits DPN holder, and I found the DPNs, which I thought I'd lost. Hurrah! Also in the bag was the pattern I originally printed out for making my Falling Ivy shawl. This incidentally now has finished pictures on my Ravelry page if you want to see the version of this that I made. I absolutely love this, and obviously I haven't been able to wear it yet because it's been too hot, but I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm glad that I did have a colour copy. I wondered what I'd done with that. I thought I'd imagined printing it. And then this is some yarn that I dyed, and I was originally going to use it for the Falling Ivy shawl, but I didn't have enough. So this is DK weight, I believe, from memory. Would help if I kept the ball band, wouldn't it? I'll have to test that. Let's have a look. I think that's a DK weight. If I was thinking of using it for, yes it is, yes that was it. It was a natural coloured merino from John Lewis, and I dyed it. So I think that might make a nice hat. In fact, it might make a nice dragonflies hat by Hoagie Locatelli. Also was some little cotton. I also thought I'd lost these and went and bought more. Brown and white. These are little Rico cotton DK little balls, really cute. And I bought these originally to make a little Christmas pudding. And I thought I'd lost them, and I never made the Christmas pudding with the replacement yarn that I bought either. Anyway, the lost yarn of Dan's car, reunited with its owner at last. Hello, it is 9:30 on Tuesday morning. And I've just been mooching about, doing a bit of laundry, doing some knitting. The teenagers are still asleep upstairs, and I haven't heard from the mum where where Phoebe is on her sleepover yet. So I'm not used to having all this time. So I'm sort of sitting knitting, and sort of in my head I'm going, enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it. But it's really hard. I feel a bit at a loss. But then when I get Phoebe back later and it's all go, 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 I'll wish I was back now taking advantage of the knitting time. I just thought I'd pop in to have a little chat because I realised today is the 29th. No, it's not. It's the 30th, and tomorrow is the last day of July, which will mark the end of July vlogs. That's gone quick, hasn't it? This year is flying by. So I hope you've been enjoying them. From the comments, it seems that you have been. So thank you so much for watching and joining me in this waffly, ordinary life that I share with you. It's really rewarding for me to make these vlogs. I can't really explain why. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy the process of making film. I do like that. I'd like to do more of that. and branch out a little bit. I need to draw the winners for the my side of the dodgy bag mail. Claudia, who is Crochet Luna, she's already done hers. I have messaged her to apologise for being so behind. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do a podcast proper before the holidays are over. So what I might do, and what I'm probably best to do, is take a little break and come back at the end of August. I've spoken a little bit over the course of this month about how I've not been feeling myself. So I think a little rest would be good. I will no doubt make a little vlog when we're in Scotland to share with you later on in the month or in September. So yeah, I might wait and do a full podcast at the end of the month, at the end of August, just to give me time to have a little bit of a break and a bit of a rest. I hope you don't mind. It's been a really good month on the whole. We've done lots of interesting things. I absolutely loved going to Fibre East. It was such a lovely day and I met some amazing people who were all just so kind and just lovely humans. And I bought some lovely yarn too. And I can't wait to just start making all the things. But I mean, just here to my left, this is where I've got all my project bag stash. I've already got all the things on the go, but I promised myself that I wouldn't worry about it. Who cares? I don't have to be finishing things. It's not a race. So if I've got lots of things on the go, I'll finish them. I'll finish them in my own time. And if I start to get overwhelmed by them, I just remind myself of that. The police aren't going to knock on the door and come and do a raid of my project bags and arrest me for crimes against finished objects or something. So I just try to stay calm about it. My fringe is really fluffy. I'm getting my fringe trimmed on Thursday, just in case anyone's worried that eventually I just won't be able to see, or I might just turn into Chrissy Hind. I feel like I'm getting a bit of a scratchy throat. Hope I don't get ill before I go on holiday. So I've just been sitting here this morning knitting on my socks. I will show you. I have turned the heel and done the gusset decreases for both socks. So it's just plain sailing towards the end now. These are shorty socks, which will either be for me or for Lilia, probably for Lilia because she likes shorty socks. And I'm using yarn which is from Ellie of Craft House Magic. I already made a pair of socks with it and I had enough left over to do a pair of shorty socks. So this is what the yarn looks like. It's not going to focus very well because I'm filming on the back facing camera, which isn't as good as the other one. But yeah, it's called Over the Rainbow and the contrast blue is called, I can't remember, Cloudy. I think it's called Cloudy Skies, and I've got enough to do the toe as well. And for the heel, I know I've mentioned this a million times before, but that is the heel from Ellie's Candy Cane Socks pattern. So it's supposed to be like a little Christmas tree. But seeing as I'm making these in the summer, we're going to say that's just a nice summery forest tree. So I'm really pleased to be on the plain knitting bit, so I can throw those in my bag wherever I go and know that all I have to do is knit round and round without having to think. So that's what I've been doing this morning, getting those to that stage. And now the next thing I want to do all morning, the door to the living room has been randomly opening itself. It is actually fully shut and it's just opened again. I can only imagine that it is the wind blowing it, because I've got the back door open and the living room window open. It's either that or a ghost. Either way, it's annoying. So if you are a ghost, stop it. Right, so this is Dan's socks. Just talking to ghosts. This is Dan's socks that I'm making him. Whoops. I'm doing these on DPNs, which I'm doing the other ones on 9-inch short circulars. So I've done the heel on this one, and I've picked up all the stitches, and I think I've just done the first round of gusset decreases, and I did some extra length in the heel, so the gusset decreases are going to take me a wee while. So I'm going to get stuck into these next and get those back round to plain knitting, because that'll be then good for travel knitting on days out and things. And the other sock is way behind, As you can see, it's just poking out the top of my needle cozy. This is a special DPN holder that Rachel from Sew Me made at my request, because for these socks I'm using longer DPNs than I normally would. So I think these are 20 centimetres instead of my normal 15. I just wanted to see what it was like, and it's fine. And because I'm making a larger sock, it works really well. But I didn't have DPN holders long enough, so I got Rachel to make me one. So that's what I'm going to start working on next, because I like to get my socks to the point where I'm past all the complicated bits and I can just knit. Right, my camera tells me I've been talking for 7 minutes and I can honestly not tell you I've said anything useful. So I'm going to go and stick some washing in the machine and watch a bit of a podcast and wait for the kids to get up or for Phoebe to get home. Might have a cup of tea. It is Wednesday and it is the 31st of July and it's also 20 to 8 in the morning. I'm in my car for probably not for the very last time, let's face it, because I will probably talk to you again in the car before the day is out. But this is the very last day of July vlogs. Didn't that go quick? It seems to me that like a ton of stuff happened and the month just seems to have been, so much has happened that it seems to have been such a long month, but at the same time it feels like it just started. This year is going really quick. Anyway, did I say I'm on my way to work? Because that's what I'm doing. On Wednesdays and Fridays I work, as you know, and that's where I'm going now. Hopefully the traffic, I say this every time and it always goes wrong, hopefully the traffic won't be too bad. It is well and truly in the middle of the school holidays now, so all the schools should be off, and that usually makes for pretty good traffic driving through South London. So for the very final time I'm going to flip the camera around, film a little bit of my journey to work. It's a grey day today and it rained all day yesterday, so I am a very happy bunny because, as you know, I feel happier when the temperatures are lower. It's nice that it's dry though. I have to say, as much as I love winter weather, in the school holidays I prefer it dry. Obviously it's always nice to have a nice day where you just have to stay at home, no expectations, you can laze about, do some baking, watch a film, which is pretty much what we did yesterday afternoon. I've got a big box of biscuits to take in to share with my colleagues today. But I do like it dry because it means you can get out and about, see things, enjoy things, and just get around this lovely county where we live. I'm under no illusions that when we go to Scotland a week on Saturday that it's going to be dry. I don't think it is. I think it's going to rain, but we're just going to go prepared because Scotland is beautiful in the rain. And I will be doing, I have decided, because even if just for my own benefit, I'm going to do a little film about our trip to Scotland, which will be out later in the month. And I will be filming, I think I said yesterday, I don't think I'm going to fit a podcast in before we go away. If I can, I will, but I doubt it's going to be possible. Maybe I could just do it and just tell the kids to stay out of the way for an hour and try not to ramble. Who am I kidding? Anyway, if I can't fit it in, the next podcast proper will be at the end of August. And just to reiterate again, there will be a Strictly Sock Along 2019. I've just seen on Instagram this morning that they are starting to announce the first celebrities that are going to be going into Strictly this year. So I'm getting that little buzz of Strictly feeling. I can't wait. So that'll be starting towards the end. The Sock Along will be starting towards the end of September. We usually start, well, the first year we started during the launch show, and the second year we started when the first live show started. So I'm not sure what to do this year, because I thought that made it less confusing. Actually, I think a lot of people found that more confusing. It was to avoid the lull of about 2 to 3 weeks between the launch show and the first live shows. I'll have a think. You have a think too, and we'll all reconvene and work out what to do. Right, stop waffling. I'm going to turn the camera around and drive to work. Roadworks and the Scissor Sisters. I'm in the work car park. There's people in their cars all around me. I think everyone's got here early this morning. So I'm going to have to do this very quickly. I'm eating my overnight oats before I go in. And it's a lovely, cool morning. And hopefully I'll have a nice, productive day at work. It's going to be one of those days. For reference, it's been saying this for the last 10 minutes. It's home time! Yay! It's just before 5 p.m. Oh, sorry. It's just before 5 p.m. And the radio doesn't... Ready. It's quite hot in my car as well. Just find my sunglasses. Didn't need them this morning because it was raining, and now it's sunny and hot. I'm going to pop to the post office on my way home, the sorting office, because I've got one of these cards what tells me I've got a parcel waiting. and I think it might be my parcel from Switzerland because I'm doing a swap with somebody. So hopefully my parcel will safely arrive with her soon. She posted hers just before I posted mine. So I think it might be that. So I'm going to go and pick that up, go via the supermarket. I think I might make Dan and I nasi goreng for our dinner. We haven't had that in years. Don't know what made me think of that, but I'm not entirely sure of the ingredients. So I'll buy what I think goes in it, and they're nice ingredients, so whatever I end up making will be nice. But right now, radio up, phone off, time to get home. Well, it is about 7:15 on Wednesday, the 31st of July, and I got home about just over half an hour ago. My makeup is all smudged where I've been rubbing my eyes because I'm really tired. I got a really cool thing in the post. Someone contacted me. I won't say who because I haven't checked that it's okay. I do like to check. But she's a viewer of this podcast and she works for another area of the NHS. So I'm actually employed by the NHS, by the Mental Health Foundation that owns the hospital site where the museum I work in is on. That sounded like a really long sentence. And I'm seconded to the museum. But before that, I also worked for another NHS trust, and the NHS trust is quite an important thing in my life because they have helped me massively. In fact, without them, I'd probably not be here. And a lovely, lovely lady who works for another branch of the NHS picked me up part of her role, it's hard to describe, I can't speak, part of her role is equality and diversity, and she said it's a role she's really passionate about. And she went to a conference and they've got the LGBTQ, that's right, isn't it? Why doesn't that sound right? Anyway, it's got the pride flag. And they've designed this to celebrate diversity of all types within the NHS Foundation where she works. And she said, I saw it and I thought of you and can I send it to you? So I'm going to send her one of my little pins in return because that is brilliant. And I'm going to put that on my lanyard at work. Can't really see it very well, can you? It's because I'm filming on the rubbish back-facing camera. Yes, so rambling. I also got another package from the post office which I'm going to open in a minute. So I did a swap with someone, as I said earlier, and it was that. So I'm really looking forward to sitting down and doing that. But first I'm going to play a bit with Phoebe, get her ready for bed. She wants to play on the Wii, which is about the last thing on earth that I want to do at 7:15 after a long day at work. And I did a grocery shop on the way home as well. But that's what we're going to do. And then eventually she will go to bed. I have worked out the stitch count for her leg warmers because I had terrible trouble, even though I found a pattern, I had terrible trouble working out how I would size it up or down to fit her. But I've worked it out now and I've cast that on. I've just tried the little swatch I did on her and it fits perfectly. So I'm now going to cast on the second one and I think I'm going to work those two at a time because they're going to be pretty long. I haven't done anything two at a time in ages, so we'll see how that goes. I can always separate them and do them concurrently if I want to. Stop rubbing your eyes. Yeah, so basically all that remains for me to say is thank you so much for watching these July ramblings. I hope you have enjoyed them, and I'm sorry I keep repeating myself because I know I've already said that as well. I will be back as soon as I possibly can with a podcast. If I can podcast next week, I will. If not, it'll be towards the end of August. Strictly Sock Along is coming. I'm so excited and I need to get my act together for that. But it will definitely be happening. It's one of my favourite times of the year is Strictly season and I can't wait. But I've got a holiday to have before then. And lots of exciting things coming up. So, and the next time I do vlogs, like proper, I'm going to do Vlogtober, definitely. So, yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Have a lovely summer. Have a lovely August. I will see you in a few weeks' time, if not before. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for smashing the like button. Please don't forget to do that because it does help the channel. I don't know why I would say that actually, because I don't monetize the channel and I don't do anything. So what does it matter how many people watch? Because it makes me feel good. Give me lots of likes, please. And I'm going to go and finish getting Phoebe ready for bed, and I'm going to go and put my pyjamas on. And in celebration of the end of July vlogs, I may even have a glass of wine or a chai tea. We'll see how I feel. I am quite tired. We all know it's going to be the glass of wine. Right. I will see you very soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.